my name is Ralph Baddour, and I'm from Toronto, and I came to the web last year. I was a student in medical biophysics, doing research on ultrasound scattering, and some would say, well, what are you doing at the web? I was always doing little part-time businesses on the web, doing web development. I'd recently learned to do iPhone development as a procrastination project, and I thought, let's just go to the web just for fun. I didn't really have a plan for a startup or anything really at all, or a business. I took it as a bit of a vacation, and let's just see what I can learn. So I came to the web last year, and I decided to use the Presdo match system to try to see if there's any people with similar interests. I found it very useful that way because I didn't have a network at all. And that's how I came across a few interesting people, including the guy, Eric, who became my co-founder. So I set up a meeting with him initially just because I'd followed his blog. He had a blog called Paris Daily Photo, and he shows a nice picture of Paris every day. And I'd followed that for off and on for maybe a year and a half, and I just said, hey, I've followed your blog, I see you're at the conference, let's just meet. So we met, and we had a nice chat, and it turned out to be a very dynamic and interesting guy. But still, we're not talking about any startup at that point. We met again the next day. Of course, I met plenty of people. I was pretty impressed with who's there. So just being kind of in a group that was asking fill-a-bin questions, that was pretty cool because just the month before my dad converted me to Evernote. So anyway, that's just a little side story. So I met Eric again the next day, and we decided, you know what, let's maybe work together because we have similar ideas. We want to do something mobile related, and then that's it. And then kept talking with Eric, and we decided to found a company. So we incorporated, and it's called Inspirapps Incorporated. But still, no product, keeping an open mind. And at that point decided, okay, that's it. Let's get together and really work hard on this. So I came to Paris because he's from Paris. And so I came here, and we started brainstorming, and we started working on one little thing, and we decided on something to provide mobile feedback. So we called it Poll2Go, and that's really what we've been working on. We launched at the end of August. And so what is Poll2Go? It's to provide feedback, enable the reception of feedback anywhere near real time. So you don't need an app, and you don't need any tech person to set it up. You can create a Poll2Go, for example, at a conference to ask your audience a question. If you're a professor and you want to engage your students, to ask them a question, but also to receive questions. Because as a student, sometimes you're embarrassed to raise your hand, and maybe you think it's a stupid question. And of course, there's plenty of other uses for Poll2Go that we're discovering. So I'm keeping this pitch very generic because we're learning as we go. So anyway, we launched a few end of August, and I'm still here, and it's actually worked nicely being in France because I think the story of a Canadian and a French person working on a business has actually, so we got a bit of press here, and so it's been not a bad idea to be here. So now the web's coming up again, and decide to go again. So I'm no longer a student, paying a bit more to go, but I think that we have no expectations, but obviously we're getting to the point where we're thinking of looking for funding. So that's maybe one of the things we'll keep our antennas up during the web. It's a good idea to come, even though it does cost money. Maybe look at it as a vacation, like I did. You can pay your airfare to come to Paris anyway. You pay for textbooks anyway, and it's a learning experience in that order. In fact, for me, it was of greater magnitude because it opened me up to a different world completely. And just keep an open mind because you never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to learn. Just because you're studying, medical biophysics doesn't mean that you can't work on something that's web related. And that's, I guess, the web story from last year. And hopefully, it's a story that's evolving, and hopefully in this year, other good things are in store. I guess that's my story.